For centuries, the ancient civilization of the Maya has intrigued historians, archaeologists, and adventurers alike. Its towering pyramids, advanced astronomical knowledge, and intricate calendar systems continue to fascinate. But what happened to the Maya? How did one of the most sophisticated civilizations of its time simply vanish? Was it a sudden environmental disaster, a collapse of their society, or something far more mysterious? In this story, we'll dive into the most compelling theories behind the Maya's disappearance, from a potential alien connection, hidden rituals, to an unexplained shift in time itself. Prepare to explore forgotten cities, uncover hidden secrets, and consider wild, unexplained possibilities. The truth behind the Maya's fall may be far more extraordinary than anyone has imagined. Deep in the heart of the dense, humid jungles of Central America, the once mighty civilization of the Maya has left behind more questions than answers. Towering temples, intricate stone carvings, and massive city ruins are all that remain of a culture that seemed to vanish without a trace. But amidst the stone structures and forgotten cities, an ancient mystery lingers: the prophecy of the Maya. Legends passed down through generations speak of a great prophecy, a warning left by the Maya priests before the collapse of their civilization. It is said that these priests, known for their wisdom and connection to the divine, knew their time was running out. The gods, according to the priests, had given them the knowledge to foresee the future, not just the fate of their people, but the fate of all mankind. These predictions, engraved on stone tablets scattered across their ancient cities, were not just about the fall of the Maya. They foretold global catastrophes that might one day shake the very fabric of human existence. Some of the most intriguing of these prophecies were carved into the stelae of the Maya city of Copan. These massive stone monuments depict rulers, gods, and celestial events, but hidden within their carvings are strange symbols and cryptic messages. Some believe these symbols are a direct reference to an ancient and cataclysmic event that ended the Maya civilization. Was it a natural disaster, or something more mystical? The stelae hint at a catastrophic upheaval that the priests believed was inevitable. But the mystery doesn't stop there. In the ruins of Palenque, another Maya city, archaeologists discovered the tomb of a ruler named Pakal the Great. His tomb was adorned with carvings that depict him ascending to the heavens, possibly suggesting that his death was not just a physical end, but a spiritual transformation. Some scholars argue that the images show him escaping to another world, possibly in a ship-like vessel that looks strikingly similar to modern depictions of UFOs. Could these images be a part of the last prophecy, a warning from the priests that their civilization was connected to something far beyond Earth? It's not just the stone carvings that fuel these theories. Oral traditions, passed down through generations of Maya descendants, speak of a final apocalyptic prophecy. This prophecy, though fragmented, alludes to a great cosmic alignment and a time when the world would experience a shift. One that would mark the end of the Maya and possibly the end of the world itself. Many believe this prophecy is connected to the end of the Maya long count calendar, which concluded in December 2012, while mainstream scholars dismiss any apocalyptic predictions tied to this date. Others argue that the Maya saw the end of one era as the beginning of another, a cyclical transition that mirrors the destruction and rebirth seen throughout the universe. Some theorists have even speculated that the Maya's disappearance was not a collapse at all, but rather a deliberate retreat. According to this theory, the Maya priests, aware of the approaching cataclysm, chose to vanish from the world, hiding their knowledge and secrets away in the dense jungles, far from the reach of the outside world. They believed that their civilization had reached the limits of its time, and that only through isolation and secrecy could the true knowledge survive for future generations. And then there is the possibility that the priests were not simply looking to survive, but to communicate. The final prophecy could be seen as a message, one left behind for future generations, perhaps even for us today. The Maya, with their advanced understanding of astronomy and the cosmos, may have known that humanity was heading toward a great reckoning. Were they trying to send a warning? A warning that we are walking down the same path they did? As the mystery of the Maya's disappearance deepens, it becomes clear that their ancient prophecies hold more than just historical value. They are part of a greater enigma, one that may point to something far larger than a simple collapse of a civilization. It is as if the Maya knew that their fall would be the beginning of something much greater, something that would unfold long after their cities were abandoned and their people disappeared into the jungle. The jungle, once a silent witness to their rise and fall, now holds the last remnants of their story. A story written in stone, hidden in the shadows of their pyramids and temples, waiting to be deciphered. The prophecy of the Maya is not just an ancient legend, it is a riddle that continues to baffle historians, archaeologists, and anyone who dares to believe that the Maya knew something we have yet to understand. Could their prophecy be a key to unlocking a greater truth, one that stretches far beyond their ancient civilization? Only time will tell. In the heart of the dense Central American jungles, ancient ruins rise above the forest floor like the ghosts of a lost civilization. Cities that once thrived with life, wealth, and knowledge now stand in eerie silence, their towering temples and grand pyramids slowly being swallowed by the encroaching vines and trees. Among the most famous of these abandoned cities are Tikal and Palenque, two once mighty hubs of Maya culture that seem to have disappeared almost overnight. But what happened to the people who built these cities? Why did such a powerful and advanced civilization simply walk away from their sacred temples, leaving behind masterpieces of architecture and art? Was it a natural disaster, a societal collapse, or could it be something far more mysterious? Tikal, one of the largest and most influential Maya cities, offers some of the most striking clues. With its soaring pyramids, intricate stone carvings, and massive plazas, Tikal was once a bustling metropolis. At its peak, it was home to tens of thousands of people, and its rulers wielded immense political and spiritual power. But by the 9th century, the city had been abandoned, its streets empty, its temples silent. What caused the Maya to leave? Archaeologists have proposed several theories. Some suggest that Tikal, like many other Maya cities, may have suffered from environmental degradation. Overpopulation, deforestation, and soil exhaustion could have led to crop failures, making it impossible for the city to sustain itself. In this view, Tikal's collapse was a gradual process, driven by the Maya's own exploitation of their environment. However, there's another, more chilling theory that suggests the collapse of Tikal and other Maya cities was not simply a result of environmental collapse, but a sudden, catastrophic event. Some researchers believe that a series of natural disasters, such as severe droughts or volcanic eruptions, could have triggered the mass exodus. The Maya were deeply connected to the natural world, and their temples were not just architectural marvels but representations of their relationship with the cosmos and the earth. A sudden environmental upheaval might have shattered their worldview, causing them to abandon their cities in search of safety or spiritual redemption. Palenque, another breathtaking Maya city, offers even more intriguing mysteries. Known for its stunning temples and intricately carved stone inscriptions, Palenque was a cultural and political powerhouse. Yet, by the late 8th century, it, too, fell silent. What happened to the people of Palenque? One theory posits that the city's rulers, who had long used their divine authority to control their people, could have lost their power after a series of failed military campaigns or internal strife. With the loss of their king and the breakdown of their social structure, the city might have fallen into disarray, prompting its inhabitants to flee to other regions. But there is a darker, more enigmatic theory that links the abandonment of these cities to something far beyond human conflict or environmental collapse. Could the Maya have left because they were drawn to something they believed to be far more important? Some believe the Maya were guided by a higher calling, a prophecy, a cosmic alignment, or even a connection with extraterrestrial beings. The Maya had an extraordinary understanding of astronomy and often aligned their temples with celestial bodies. The precise construction of their cities was based on calculations that allowed them to track the movements of planets and stars, suggesting that the Maya saw themselves as part of a larger cosmic plan. Some researchers speculate that the Maya knew their time was coming to an end, and the abandonment of their cities was not a collapse, but a deliberate retreat. They might have believed that their cities were no longer sacred places, and that in order to continue their spiritual journey, they needed to leave. This theory is fueled by the strange and mysterious carvings found in many Maya temples. Some of these carvings show figures ascending into the sky, while others depict strange beings. Not quite human, yet not entirely divine. Could these images be depicting a departure from the physical world, a transcendence to another realm or dimension? If so, it would explain why the Maya left behind their temples and cities. They were preparing for something far greater than a simple relocation. Even more bizarre are the theories that suggest the Maya might have had contact with beings from other worlds. Some of the carvings found in the ruins of Palenque depict what some have interpreted as astronauts in spacesuits, with intricate helmets and large bulbous eyes. Could these be representations of extraterrestrial visitors, perhaps even the ones who guided the Maya in their spiritual practices? Did the Maya leave their cities to join these beings, to escape the inevitable decline of their civilization or to fulfill some ancient prophecy? The truth behind the Maya's departure from their cities may never be fully known, but one thing is certain. Their ghost cities are not just remnants of a lost civilization. They are symbols of a mystery that still beckons. The empty temples of Tikal, the silent halls of Palenque, they remain as echoes of a people who left behind more than just buildings. They left behind a legacy of unanswered questions and a tantalizing glimpse into a world far more complex and enigmatic than we could ever imagine. The Maya were an extraordinary civilization, known for their advanced understanding of the cosmos, precise calendar systems, and intricate astronomical observations. Their cities, now hidden deep within the jungles of Central America, are still filled with mysterious carvings, stone tablets, and depictions that continue to puzzle historians and archaeologists. Some of these images, however, suggest something far more bizarre than just cultural or religious symbols. They hint at a connection to something beyond the earthly realm, something that many believe could be extraterrestrial. In the vast libraries of Maya ruins, one thing stands out: their unparalleled knowledge of astronomy. The Maya understood the movements of the stars, planets, and other celestial bodies with an accuracy that would have been impossible for any other civilization of their time. Their calendar systems, particularly the long count calendar, are still regarded as some of the most sophisticated timekeeping mechanisms ever created. But how did the Maya achieve such precision? And why do some of their ancient texts and carvings seem to suggest they had knowledge of the universe that modern scientists are still trying to comprehend? One of the most compelling theories is that the Maya received this knowledge not from observation alone, but through contact with extraterrestrial beings. According to this theory, the Maya were visited by advanced civilizations from other planets, beings who shared their astronomical knowledge and perhaps even guided them in their understanding of the universe. Evidence for this theory can be found in the artwork and inscriptions left behind by the Maya, many of which depict strange, otherworldly figures. In particular, one of the most famous images is the so-called astronaut, carving found in the tomb of Pakal the Great at Palenque. The stone lid of Pakal's tomb shows a figure lying on a throne-like chair, surrounded by intricate symbols. What catches the eye of many theorists is the figure's posture and the apparent design of the throne. It looks remarkably similar to modern depictions of astronauts in spacesuits, complete with a helmet and breathing apparatus. Some have speculated that this depiction is not of a ruler ascending to the heavens, as many archaeologists suggest, but of an actual space traveler. Could Pakal have been portraying a journey not just to the afterlife, But to another world entirely? This interpretation is supported by other strange carvings found in Maya ruins, which some have compared to modern UFO sightings. In particular, some of the glyphs and carvings feature what appear to be flying saucer-like objects with figures seemingly gazing up at them in awe or even interacting with them. These objects bear a striking resemblance to descriptions of UFOs reported in modern times. Could the Maya have been witnessing something far beyond their understanding? Perhaps an encounter with extraterrestrial visitors. The idea that the Maya were in contact with alien civilizations is not just relegated to the realm of fringe theorists. Some serious scholars have suggested that the Maya's knowledge of astronomy could have been influenced by an outside source. Their understanding of celestial events, such as the movements of Venus and the alignment of the planets, was so precise that some argue it could not have been derived from simple observation. After all, how could a civilization without telescopes or advanced technology calculate the exact position of the planets and stars with such accuracy? Some believe that the only plausible explanation is that they had help from beings with superior knowledge. But why would these extraterrestrial beings choose to visit the Maya? One possibility is that the Maya were seen as a civilization with the potential for great spiritual growth. The Maya believed in a deep connection to the cosmos and often aligned their temples and cities to celestial bodies. Their entire worldview was based on the idea that the heavens and the earth were interconnected. Could these gods from the stars have chosen to impart their knowledge to a people whose spiritual and intellectual potential they recognized? Perhaps the Maya were not just a civilization, but a cosmic experiment, guided by extraterrestrial hands. Of course, there are plenty of skeptics who dismiss these theories as fanciful speculation. They argue that the Maya's astronomical achievements were the result of careful observation and a deep cultural understanding of the natural world. The fact that the Maya were able to predict solar eclipses, track planetary movements, and create such detailed calendars could simply be attributed to their exceptional skills in mathematics and astronomy. No extraterrestrial help required. But the more one examines the evidence, the harder it becomes to ignore the possibility that the Maya were not just exceptional astronomers, but also participants in something far greater. Their depictions of flying objects, strange figures, and otherworldly experiences are too consistent to be easily dismissed. Whether these carvings are symbolic, artistic representations, or actual accounts of extraterrestrial encounters is something that may never be fully understood. However, the idea that the Maya had contact with beings from another world offers an intriguing and thought-provoking possibility, one that challenges everything we think we know about their civilization and our own place in the universe. Perhaps the most fascinating aspect of these theories is not whether they are true, but the way they invite us to rethink our understanding of history, technology, and the very nature of human existence. If the Maya were in contact with extraterrestrial beings, what does that say about our own potential for discovery and exploration? Could it be that the knowledge the Maya gained from these encounters was not lost, but rather hidden, waiting for us to uncover it, just as we are beginning to unlock the secrets of the stars? The truth, as always, may be far stranger than fiction. The idea that the Maya were visited by extraterrestrials is a tantalizing one, and while we may never know for sure, the possibility forces us to question the boundaries of what is possible and what is real. Could the Maya have been the first to receive a message from the stars? And if so, what does that mean for the future of humankind? The search for answers continues, as the mystery of the Maya and their potential contact with extraterrestrial beings still lingers in the shadows of history, waiting to be uncovered. In the dark recesses of Maya history, there lies a shadowy chapter filled with mystery and intrigue: the disappearance of their high priests. These powerful individuals were not merely religious leaders. They were the conduits between the gods and the Maya people, their wisdom and guidance shaping every facet of society. But as the Maya civilization declined, something strange happened. The priests vanished. Entire temples once dedicated to them fell into ruin, and the very rituals that once held the fabric of Maya society together disappeared without a trace. What happened to the priests? Was their disappearance part of a larger, more sinister plot? A conspiracy buried in the sands of time? To understand the mystery of their disappearance, it's crucial to first grasp the nature of the Maya priesthood. These individuals were more than just spiritual leaders. They were astronomers, mathematicians, healers, and political advisors. They had the knowledge of the stars, the gods, and the earth itself. They guided the Maya kings, interpreting omens and performing sacred rituals to ensure the prosperity of their cities. But their most powerful and secretive role was as keepers of the divine will. The Maya believed that their gods communicated directly with these priests, who would then pass on their messages to the rulers and the people. One of the most well-known and mysterious rituals in Maya culture was human sacrifice. These rituals were seen as necessary offerings to appease the gods and maintain balance in the world. The sacrifices, often performed atop the pyramids, were meant to ensure the continuation of the cosmic order. The Maya believed that the gods had created humanity from their own blood, and so to keep the gods satisfied, they needed to return the favor by offering human life. The blood spilled in these rituals was seen as a form of divine currency, maintaining the delicate relationship between the human world and the supernatural. The most significant of these ceremonies would be overseen by the high priests, individuals who were said to have direct access to the divine. They would call on the gods to bless their people, offer sacrifices, and perform complex rituals that could last for days. These priests held a knowledge that most of the population could never hope to understand, and their connection to the divine was considered sacred and unbreakable. But despite their power, the high priests eventually disappeared. The last known records of their existence are sparse and fragmented, and even the most skilled archaeologists have failed to piece together what truly happened to them. Some believe that they were victims of a political coup, overthrown by rival factions within Maya society. In the years leading up to the collapse of many Maya cities, internal strife and warfare were rampant, and it's not hard to imagine that the priests who held so much power might have been targeted for elimination. If they were perceived as threats to new leaders or shifting powers, their disappearance could have been a calculated move to weaken the old regime. Yet, there is another, far darker theory that suggests the priest's disappearance was not the result of a political struggle, but rather a secret conspiracy. Some believe that the priests, in their last desperate acts, may have orchestrated their own disappearance as a part of an ancient and powerful ritual. This theory posits that the high priests knew the Maya civilization was on the brink of collapse and decided to leave. But not just physically, they may have engaged in a mystical rite, vanishing from the material world entirely. This would explain why there are no records or evidence of their deaths. They did not die in battle or in exile. Instead, they might have transcended the physical realm, leaving their cities, temples, and followers behind. The idea of the high priests disappearing into another realm is not as outlandish as it may first seem. The Maya had a deep belief in the supernatural and the power of the spirit world. Their shamans and priests were capable of communing with the gods through altered states of consciousness, using hallucinogenic substances and ritualistic practices to enter the spirit world. Could it be that the priests, faced with the decline of their civilization, turned to their most powerful rituals, disappearing into a realm that few could access? Some believe that the priests' disappearance was their way of escaping the inevitable collapse of their world, a form of spiritual salvation that preserved their knowledge and influence for future generations. But there are more startling theories that suggest the high priests may not have disappeared on their own accord at all. Some claim that the priests were the victims of a covert operation, a dark and secretive plot orchestrated by those seeking to take control of the Maya's most sacred knowledge. In this scenario, rival factions or even outsiders could have sought to eliminate the priests to seize their power. There are rumors of foreign invaders, such as the Toltecs, who might have infiltrated Maya society and wiped out the priesthood in one brutal, clandestine move. The idea of an ancient conspiracy is fueled by the mysterious nature of the priest's disappearance. No bodies were found, no signs of a violent overthrow, and no clear reason for their sudden absence. Even more intriguing are the theories that connect the disappearance of the priests to the Mayas' possible contact with extraterrestrial beings. Some believe that the high priests, having gained vast knowledge of the cosmos through their mystical practices, might have made contact with beings from other worlds. The disappearance of the priests in this view would be less about death or destruction and more about transcendence. Perhaps the priests, with their deep connection to the stars and the divine, were invited to leave the physical world behind, ascending to another dimension or even joining an alien civilization. The mysterious carvings found in many Maya temples, depictions of beings with large almond-shaped eyes and elaborate headdresses, might be evidence of this otherworldly contact. Whether the high priest disappeared through ritual, conspiracy, or something far stranger, the fact remains that their absence left a void in Maya society that has never been filled. The temples they once guarded, the rituals they once performed, and the cosmic knowledge they possessed were lost to time. Today, the only remnants of the high priests are the enigmatic symbols and carvings left behind in the ruins of Maya cities. Cryptic messages that may one day reveal the truth behind their mysterious disappearance. The ancient Maya believed that humanity was crafted from maize, the sacred crop that sustained their civilization. Their myths spoke of divine beings who shaped mankind, molding them from the very essence of the earth. But what if this story was more than just metaphor? What if the Maya, in their cryptic glyphs and sacred texts, were describing something far more advanced? Something that modern science is only beginning to understand? Some researchers and theorists propose a radical idea. The Maya civilization was not merely a product of human evolution and cultural development, but the result of an experiment conducted by a superior, possibly extraterrestrial intelligence. The gods they worshipped may not have been supernatural entities but beings of advanced knowledge, shaping early humans through genetic intervention. Could it be that the legend of creation through maize was an allegory for something far more astonishing? A deliberate act of bioengineering? The myth of the divine creation. According to the Popol Vuh, the sacred book of the Maya, humanity went through several failed creations before the gods finally achieved the perfect design. The first humans were made of mud, but they were weak and could not stand. The next were carved from wood, soulless, emotionless beings who walked the earth without purpose. These wooden people angered the gods, and so they were destroyed in a great catastrophe. Finally, the gods fashioned humans from maize, and these were the first true people. The idea of humanity being designed and improved over time bears an eerie resemblance to modern theories of genetic modification. Some researchers believe this myth could be a coded memory of an actual process, an ancient recollection of a time when early humans were adjusted by an unknown force. If the Maya gods were not merely deities but an advanced civilization conducting biological experiments, then the sacred maize could symbolize something more, a controlled substance used in the refinement of early human genetics. Clues in the DNA? Recent genetic studies have revealed that maize itself is an unusual plant. Unlike most crops, it has no clear wild ancestor in nature. It appears to have been selectively engineered thousands of years ago. The Maya not only cultivated it, but they also treated it as divine, integrating it into their spiritual and scientific understanding of the world. Some theorists speculate that maize could have been more than just food. It might have been an integral part of their biological modification. Could there have been knowledge hidden in the very crops they revered? Could maize have contained elements that played a role in an ancient experiment aimed at creating the ideal human form? Even more strangely, some indigenous Maya shamans claim that maize has an energetic or spiritual component that connects humans to the gods. Modern science might dismiss this as mysticism, but if ancient knowledge was rooted in something real, perhaps an understanding of bioenergetics or genetic manipulation, Then the Maya may have preserved a truth that we are only now rediscovering: the gods who walked among them. The Maya didn't just speak of gods in the sky. They described them as visitors who walked among men, teaching them knowledge that seemed impossibly advanced for their time. Their intricate knowledge of astronomy, timekeeping, and mathematics remains baffling even today. The Maya had a calendar so precise that it predicted celestial events with near-perfect accuracy. They built observatories aligned with planetary movements and understood cycles of the Earth, Moon, and even distant Venus with astonishing precision. How did they achieve this knowledge? One explanation is that the gods, the beings who shaped them, were more than myth. Some interpretations suggest that these gods could have been a highly advanced race, perhaps extraterrestrial in origin. The carvings in ancient Maya temples depict figures with elongated heads, large, almond-shaped eyes, and what some believe to be intricate suits resembling modern astronaut gear. While skeptics argue that these are mere artistic representations, the resemblance to modern descriptions of alien visitors is uncanny. Could it be that these gods were bioengineers conducting experiments on Earth, refining the human species for an unknown purpose? Were the Maya one of their greatest creations bestowed with knowledge beyond their time, but ultimately abandoned when the experiment was complete? The vanishing experiment. If the Maya were, in some way, a designed civilization, a group of people given extraordinary knowledge by their mysterious creators, then why did they eventually disappear? Some theorists suggest that the gods might have taken their experiment elsewhere. Perhaps the Maya had reached a stage where they were no longer useful to their creators, or maybe the experiment had reached its natural conclusion. Others propose a more chilling theory. What if the gods didn't leave by choice? What if something went wrong? The sudden decline of the Maya remains one of history's greatest enigmas. Cities that once thrived with tens of thousands of people were abandoned. The great temples and observatories, so carefully constructed, were left to be swallowed by the jungle. Did the gods foresee a catastrophe and withdraw their influence? Or did the Maya, in their pursuit of divine knowledge, unlock something they were never meant to discover? Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain. The Maya civilization was unlike any other. Their legacy is one of mystery, brilliance, and inexplicable advancements that continue to defy conventional explanations. If their myths hold even a sliver of truth, then perhaps the story of humanity is far stranger than we ever imagined. And if we were once part of an experiment, the real question remains, are we still being watched? Deep in the heart of the Chiapas jungle, hidden beneath layers of vines and centuries of forgotten history, lies one of the most enigmatic sites of the Maya civilization, Palenque. Unlike the sprawling cities of Tikal or Chichen Itza, Palenque was smaller, more secluded, almost as if it were built for a specific purpose rather than mere habitation. And within its ruins, inside the Temple of the Inscriptions, a message has been left behind. One that has baffled historians, archaeologists, and even conspiracy theorists for decades. The focal point of this mystery is the sarcophagus of Kinich Janab Pakal, known to most simply as Pakal the Great. His burial site, a chamber buried deep within the temple, is one of the most astonishing discoveries in Mesoamerican archaeology. But it is not the jade-encrusted remains of the king that have caused the greatest stir. It is the intricate carvings on the lid of his sarcophagus. Some see it as a depiction of an ancient king's journey to the underworld. Others, however, see something far more astounding. The astronaut of Palenque. The most controversial interpretation of Pakal's sarcophagus lid comes from ancient astronaut theorists who argue that the carving does not depict a traditional Mayan afterlife scene but rather something much more futuristic. To them, Pakal is seated in what appears to be a spacecraft, surrounded by symbols that eerily resemble mechanical components, control panels, tubes, and even what looks like exhaust flames at his feet. His hands seem to be manipulating some form of controls, his posture reminiscent of an astronaut reclining for launch. Skeptics dismiss this theory, attributing the imagery to traditional Maya beliefs about the underworld. Xibalba. They claim the scene represents Pakal descending into the afterlife, with the flames being the world tree's roots stretching into the depths of the earth. But the striking resemblance to modern spacecraft has led many to wonder. Was Pakal really just a ruler, or was he something more? Could this image be a message, a warning, or a reminder from a civilization that once possessed knowledge beyond our comprehension? Was Pakal himself a traveler, someone who had direct contact with beings from beyond our world? The inscription puzzle. A message for the future? The Temple of the Inscriptions gets its name from the thousands of hieroglyphic symbols adorning its walls. These inscriptions are among the longest continuous texts found in the Maya world, detailing the lineage of Pakal, astronomical observations, and, strangely, cryptic references to events far beyond Pakal's time. Some translations suggest that the texts speak of a cataclysmic event, one that may have already happened or is still to come. Mentions of the movements of Venus, alignments of distant stars, and what some interpret as a cycle of destruction and rebirth hint at a deeper understanding of cosmic events. The Maya had an unparalleled grasp of time, their calendars spanning thousands of years. Could these inscriptions be a warning to future generations about something inevitable? One passage in particular has stirred debate. It speaks of a time far beyond the reign of Pakal, describing a moment when the sky will darken and the gods shall return. Was this merely poetic mythology? Or were the Maya recording a real prophecy, something they believed would occur centuries or even millennia later? The lost knowledge of the Maya. Some believe that the Maya had access to knowledge that has since been lost, whether through their own advancements or through external intervention. Their understanding of the stars, their advanced mathematics, and their inexplicable ability to measure celestial cycles with such precision have led to theories that they were either instructed by a higher intelligence or had inherited wisdom from an even older, forgotten civilization. What makes this idea even more intriguing is that the concept of an astronaut king is not unique to the Maya. Similar depictions of figures in apparent flight gear can be found in ancient Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and even Indian art. Is it possible that Pakal was part of a larger, interconnected mystery, one that suggests ancient humans had knowledge of or contact with something beyond Earth? The disappearance of the priests, adding another layer of mystery. Historical records suggest that Palenque's religious elite vanished suddenly. Unlike other Maya cities, which collapsed gradually due to war, drought, or resource depletion, Palenque seems to have been abandoned in an eerily swift manner. Some scholars believe political instability played a role, but others wonder, did the Maya priests leave voluntarily? If they were the keepers of forbidden knowledge, could they have removed themselves from the city for reasons we may never fully understand? Some stories passed down through indigenous traditions speak of a great migration of the learned ones, who took their sacred knowledge and hid it in places unknown. If Pakal's tomb and the inscriptions in the temple were part of a warning, perhaps those who knew the full truth felt the need to disappear before it was too late. The final question: who was Pakal? Really? Was he merely a powerful ruler with a strong devotion to the gods? Or was he something more? A messenger, a traveler, or even a being not entirely of this world? The lid of his sarcophagus remains one of the most debated artifacts in history, and the Temple of the Inscriptions continues to hold secrets that we have yet to decipher. Whether the carvings were a glimpse into an advanced civilization's knowledge, a depiction of extraterrestrial contact, or an elaborate metaphor lost to time, one thing is certain: the Maya were telling us something. Whether or not we choose to listen remains in our hands. For centuries, the sudden disappearance of the Maya civilization has puzzled historians and archaeologists. Unlike other ancient cultures that declined gradually due to war, famine, or disease, the Maya seem to have vanished almost overnight. Great cities such as Tikal, Copan, and Uxmal, once vibrant centers of knowledge, art, and astronomy, were inexplicably abandoned. But what if their disappearance wasn't due to earthly causes? What if the Maya didn't just disappear, but rather they left this world entirely? The time anomaly in the Yucatan. Scattered throughout the dense jungles of the Yucatan Peninsula are places that defy explanation. Local villagers whisper of strange occurrences, people who vanish without a trace, eerie lights flickering in the sky, and sudden distortions in time. Some researchers claim these areas have a high concentration of electromagnetic activity, while others believe they might be something far more extraordinary. Portals to another dimension. One such anomaly lies near the ruins of Uxmal, where electronic devices malfunction inexplicably. Tourists report feeling disoriented, as if time itself slows down. Others speak of seeing shadowy figures that flicker in and out of existence, only to vanish when approached. Could these locations be remnants of an ancient technology the Maya once understood? The cataclysmic time rift theory. One of the most radical theories suggests that the Maya experienced a catastrophic shift in space-time, something akin to a black hole forming on Earth. Some physicists speculate that powerful cosmic events, such as solar flares or gamma-ray bursts, could theoretically disrupt the fabric of time, creating rifts in reality. If the Maya had somehow anticipated such an event, could they have prepared for it? Certain ancient texts reference a great door opening in the sky, through which the gods would return. Some scholars interpret this metaphorically, but others argue that it could describe something far more literal: a portal, a wormhole, a bridge to another existence. The return of the gods prophecy. The Maya were obsessed with cycles of time, meticulously recording celestial movements with an accuracy that still amazes modern scientists. Their long count calendar, famously linked to the 2012 Doomsday prediction, was believed to mark not the end of the world, but rather the end of one era and the beginning of another. Ancient glyphs suggest that the gods were expected to return at the closing of certain cycles. But what if these gods were not celestial deities, but the Maya themselves, traveling through time? Could they have known about an upcoming cosmic event, one that allowed them to transcend physical reality and move into another realm? Evidence of dimensional knowledge. Several Maya artifacts depict strange doorways, staircases leading into the sky, and figures stepping through glowing rings. These symbols, found on the walls of Palenque, Chichen Itza, and even hidden caves beneath Tulum, hint at something profound, an understanding of dimensions beyond our own. One particularly mysterious artifact, found in a hidden chamber beneath the Pyramid of the Magician in Uxmal, contains glyphs that speak of the passage through the void, where the stars whisper secrets. The meaning is debated, but some believe it describes an ancient dimensional shift, a migration not through space, but through time itself. The disappearance, a chosen few or an entire civilization. If the Maya did indeed discover a way to move between dimensions, an important question remains. Was this transition voluntary? One theory suggests that only the elite, priests, astronomers, and rulers, crossed over, leaving behind the rest of the civilization. This could explain why some Maya cities remained inhabited long after the Great Pyramids and ceremonial centers fell silent. Another, even more chilling possibility is that the entire civilization was swept away in a cosmic event. Imagine a black hole forming not in space, but in the heart of the Yucatan. A rift that consumed an entire people, leaving nothing but abandoned temples and cryptic inscriptions warning of their fate. Final thoughts. Did the Maya transcend our reality? The ruins of the Maya world hold secrets we may never fully understand. While mainstream historians argue that their civilization collapsed due to environmental factors and political turmoil, the truth might be far stranger. Could the Maya have unlocked the mysteries of time and space, leaving behind only whispers of their existence? If so, where did they go? And more importantly, could they one day return? Perhaps the answer lies not in the ruins, but in the stars, waiting for us to follow their path and uncover the truth. For centuries, historians and archaeologists have debated the mysterious collapse of the Maya civilization. Wars, famine, and drought have all been considered possible culprits, yet none of these explanations fully account for the rapid and seemingly coordinated abandonment of once thriving cities. But what if the answer lies not in warfare or politics, but in something far more insidious, something invisible, silent, and deadly? Recent discoveries suggest that the Maya may have faced an ecological apocalypse, one that poisoned their lands, sickened their people, and ultimately drove them to abandon their great cities. And at the heart of this catastrophe was something both natural and terrifying: toxic rain. The deadly waters of the Maya world. Deep beneath the ruins of Chichen Itza lies a network of cenotes, natural sinkholes filled with water that served as the civilization's primary water source. These underground reservoirs were considered sacred, believed to be gateways to the gods, and used in ceremonies that ranged from ritual purification to human sacrifice. But modern scientific studies have revealed something shocking. These waters contained dangerously high levels of mercury. So where did this poison come from? The Maya were known for their elaborate and colorful murals, vibrant ceramics, and stunning red-painted temples. The pigment they used, cinnabar, contained mercury sulfide, a highly toxic compound. As rainwater washed over temples and ceremonial sites, it carried this mercury into the drinking water, slowly poisoning the population over generations. But mercury alone may not have been the only threat. Scientists analyzing sediment samples from the region discovered something even more alarming: traces of cyanobacteria, microscopic organisms capable of producing potent neurotoxins. These toxins, when released into water supplies, can cause severe illness, hallucinations, paralysis, and even death. Could it be that the Maya, unknowingly, poisoned themselves? A sky that turned against them. The Maya had always looked to the heavens for guidance. They tracked the movements of Venus, calculated solar eclipses with astonishing precision, and structured their temples in alignment with cosmic events. But what if the skies they revered became their executioner? Historical climate records suggest that around the time of the Maya collapse, the region experienced a dramatic environmental shift. Droughts became longer, forests were cut down at an unprecedented rate, and the once lush landscapes of the Yucatan began to dry out. Without tree cover to stabilize the soil, powerful storms likely swept across the land, carrying with them acidic rain laced with toxic elements from volcanic eruptions thousands of miles away. Some researchers believe that eruptions in Mexico and Central America may have filled the atmosphere with sulfur dioxide, leading to highly acidic rainfall that poisoned crops, water sources, and even the air itself. Mass madness and a dying civilization. Imagine a civilization slowly succumbing to an unseen enemy. The once proud Maya, their kings and priests, their warriors and scribes, all drinking water tainted with invisible death. The symptoms would have been gradual at first: weakness, confusion, tremors. Then came the more horrifying effects: paranoia, hallucinations, violent outbursts, entire families suffering from seizures and convulsions. Did they believe they were cursed? Were they convinced that the gods had abandoned them? Some accounts suggest that as desperation set in, the Maya turned to their most extreme rituals. Human sacrifices increased. Children and nobles alike were thrown into the cenotes, offered to Chak, the god of rain, in a last attempt to purify the poisoned waters. But the gods did not answer. Entire cities emptied as the survivors fled into the forests, seeking new lands where the air was pure and the rivers ran clean. Their once mighty pyramids and temples were left to crumble beneath the vines, their knowledge fading into legend. Final thoughts: an unfinished warning? If toxic rain and poisoned waters truly played a role in the Maya collapse, it serves as a chilling warning from the past. The same environmental threats, deforestation, pollution, climate shifts, loom over modern civilization. Perhaps the Maya didn't just disappear. Perhaps they left behind a silent prophecy etched into their ruins, waiting for us to understand it before history repeats itself. The jungles of Central America are vast, untamed, and filled with secrets that modern civilization has yet to uncover. Ancient cities, long thought to be lost, continue to emerge beneath the dense canopy, whispering of a past that refuses to be erased. But what if the ruins are not the only remnants of the Maya civilization? What if they never truly disappeared, vanishing into the jungle? The traditional narrative suggests that by the time the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, the great Maya cities had already been abandoned for centuries. But what if this wasn't an act of self-destruction, but one of survival? Some researchers believe that a faction of the Maya elite, possibly including priests, astronomers, and warriors, intentionally withdrew into the deepest, most impassable parts of the jungle. This isn't just a wild theory. Even today, there are uncontacted tribes hidden deep in the forests of the Amazon in Central America. Some of them remain isolated by choice, refusing to engage with the modern world. Could it be that a secretive group of Maya descendants has been doing the same for centuries? Missionaries and explorers who have ventured into these remote areas have returned with strange stories. Some claim to have seen mysterious figures dressed in robes unlike anything worn by local tribes. Others have reported hearing voices speaking an ancient dialect of the Maya language, one that should have disappeared long ago. The legends of the Shadow People. The Lacandan Maya, one of the few indigenous groups that survived the Spanish conquest with their traditions largely intact, tell stories of shadow people, individuals who live beyond the reach of modern civilization, watching, waiting. According to these legends, these beings possess knowledge far beyond that of ordinary men. They are said to know the true power of the stars, the hidden codes left behind in the Great Pyramids, and the sacred rituals that once allowed their ancestors to commune with the gods. Some believe they hold ancient books, the lost codices that the Spanish tried to destroy, filled with wisdom that could change the world if revealed. Could these shadow people be the last guardians of the old ways? Strange encounters and government secrets. In 2018, a group of archaeologists using LiDAR technology, a type of laser scanning that can penetrate dense vegetation, discovered over 60,000 previously unknown Maya structures hidden beneath the Guatemalan jungle. Among them were pyramids, roads, and defensive walls, suggesting that entire cities had remained undetected for centuries. But what if these cities were still inhabited? Some conspiracy theorists believe that governments and scientific organizations have covered up encounters with an uncontacted Maya civilization. There are whispers of expeditions mysteriously cut short, footage confiscated, and researchers who suddenly stop speaking about their findings. In 2012, a National Geographic film crew exploring a remote region of Belize claimed to have captured unusual figures moving among the trees. Figures that vanished before they could be approached. The footage was never released. A hidden civilization or a vanishing bloodline. If the lost Maya truly do exist, why have they remained hidden for so long? Some theorists suggest they fear the modern world, seeing it as a continuation of the destruction brought by the Spanish conquest. Others believe they are waiting for something. Perhaps the fulfillment of a prophecy or the return of a celestial event they have been tracking for generations. But there's another, darker possibility, that they are not a separate people at all, but instead walk among us, blending into society while keeping their ancient knowledge alive in secrecy. Genetic studies have shown that millions of people in Central America today carry strong Maya ancestry. Some families still practice rituals that bear eerie similarities to those depicted in ancient murals. Could it be that the Maya never truly vanished, but instead chose to hide in plain sight? Perhaps one day they will decide the world is finally ready to hear their truth. For centuries, the disappearance of the Maya civilization has remained one of history's most enduring enigmas. Their magnificent cities, once bustling with life, now lie silent beneath the jungle's relentless grip. But what if their departure was not an accident? What if the Maya left behind a message, carefully encoded in their temples, calendars, and myths? One that was never meant for their own time, but for ours? The calendar that never ended. When the world braced for December 21st, 2012, the supposed end of the Maya calendar, many feared it signaled an impending apocalypse, but the truth was far more complex. The Maya never predicted the end of the world, only the end of an era. Their long count calendar was cyclical, marking the close of one great age and the beginning of another. Could they have foreseen a transformation on a scale we are only beginning to understand? Some scholars believe that their knowledge of cosmic cycles was more advanced than we have given them credit for. The alignment of planets, the shifting of Earth's magnetic field, these were not just arbitrary events to the Maya. They were signposts in the grand rhythm of time. What if 2012 was never meant to mark destruction, but instead a transition, a shift in human consciousness, a call to awaken to something greater? Warnings hidden in stone. The great cities of the Maya were abandoned, but they were not left empty-handed. Throughout the ruins, intricate carvings and murals depict celestial events, unnatural catastrophes, and gods descending from the sky. Were these merely artistic expressions or were they warnings? Consider the Temple of Inscriptions in Palenque. Among its many glyphs, some researchers claim to have identified references to an era of great upheaval, floods, famine, and a mysterious darkness that would spread across the land. Others believe that the famed sarcophagus of King Pakal, which some interpret as an astronaut piloting a spacecraft, is a message about humanity's connection to the stars. Were the Maya trying to tell us that they knew something we didn't? The prophecy of return. Among the many legends passed down through the generations, one speaks of the return of the Maya gods, beings who once walked among them, imparting wisdom before vanishing into the unknown. Some believe these gods were not deities in the traditional sense, but rather teachers, travelers from another world or another time. In recent years, discoveries in quantum physics and space exploration have forced us to reconsider what is possible. The concept of interdimensional travel, once the domain of science fiction, is now taken seriously by physicists. Could the Maya have understood something about reality that we are only beginning to grasp? The final puzzle piece. If the Maya left us a message, what are we meant to do with it? Perhaps it was never about decoding a single warning or uncovering a hidden truth. Maybe the real lesson lies in how they saw the universe, not as a linear path, but as a vast, interconnected web of time, energy, and cosmic order. Their knowledge of the stars, their reverence for nature, their understanding of balance and cycles, these are not relics of a forgotten past. They are pieces of a wisdom that humanity may one day need to survive. Maybe, just maybe, the Maya didn't vanish. Maybe they stepped aside, waiting for the moment when we would finally be ready to listen.